Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the DC fan site where you can look at plot synopsis, character bios, that kind of stuff. So, man, I was just thinking, I really love this logo. That's pretty cool. So we're continuing with Geoff Johns' run on The Flash. We're gonna try to do his entire run. So we got quite a bit to go. It's really good. So we're looking here at Flash 166 from November of 2000. Hard to believe it's been 24 years already. Well, almost 24. I am in January right now, but November of 2000 is when this came out. So goodness gracious, does time fly? Wonderful cover, absolutely wonderful cover by Brian Boland. Um, Brian Boland it just has an exquisite line. It's hard to know why some stuff he inks completely and other stuff he just dashes. Um, but this dude, man, he is so unique. Um, Ethan Van Sciver is someone who I think is a newer version of Brian Boland, and I mean in the art, in his style. And another person that I think is very similar to Brian Boland is Frank, not Frank Quietly. Um, oh goodness, he also works a lot with Geoff Johns. Gary Frank, not Gary Frank is also very similar to Brian Boland. So, all right. So we are now in chapter 3. Start with another quote by Lewis Carroll. And here we've got Captain Cold. We got our credit here. Geoff Johns is the writer. Angel Unzueta, who is pretty good, is the penciler. I am unfortunately not very familiar with his work. Um, I'm sure he's done many other things, but this is one of the few things that I remember seeing from him, and he's actually seems to be quite talented. So, all right. So he also writes in first person. So, here we go. My nephew's name is Wally West. For some reason, Wally's calling himself the Flash, the fastest man alive. My name is Barry Allen. So, if you remember, I have covered the other issues. They seem to be in a mirror world, not like in a parallel. And this cop says, "Hands in the air now." And I've never heard of this Flash. That's him in the red. The guy in the blue keeps blaring his name to anyone that will listen. Captain Cold. I doubt that rank is legit. Real quick, I love this panel here. If in case you didn't notice, it's bending. So from top, it just looks so awesome. It's a neat trick. It looks spectacular. So, all right. We think they're partners. Cold's already killed some cops, broke Flash out of jail, which brings me to my conclusion. That's not the Wally West I know. He's just using his name. He picked the wrong kid to impersonate. And so Barry aims the gun. Who are you? Because you sure as heck aren't my nephew. Barry, and Barry's like, don't move. And he unmasks himself. My name is the Flash. I know you don't know who I am. And then he kind of mumbles to himself, "Damn mirror worlds, just let me explain, let me show you." And this guy, of course, you know, old trope, some kind of trick. Don't let him finish what he's starting, and he just starts shooting. And they get behind that headstone there. Captain Cold says, "Nice going, kid. Still want to try and talk your way through the Keystone cops?" And Wally says, "Just because your powers, that's all you'll be able to do." Um, oh, sorry. Because without your powers, that's all you'll be able to do. And Wally says, "How accurate are you with? I'm sorry. How accurate are you with that gun of yours, Cold? Don't insult me. What do you need me to do?" And so he off panel he tells him, and he goes, "Back at ya." And so he creates some kind of shield, and Barry's like, "What the?" And so they shoot, and so Wally says, "I should have been able to catch that," and Captain Cold says, "You owe me." And so our bullets are stopping in midair. What'd he do? And I forgot this cop's name, but care to share a hypothesis, Barry? Okay, Shire. It's cold, Shire. It's a Coldfield Shire. A wall of negative thermal dynamics. The molecules in the air are absorbing all the kinetic energy that hits them. Right you are, Alan. You were always a quick one, weren't you? Didn't surprise us much when we found out you were the police scientist. Um, so I wouldn't waste any more ammo, troops. Nothing short of a flash has enough momentum to break through, and even then, it'll slow him down to a crawl. Um, and Captain Cole kind of mumbles, "How do you think I always see you? I always see the flash coming." So, and Wally says, "On that long-winded note, I suggest we all put our weapons away and talk. Lead won't fly through this thing, but this gold gun will. And so will light." Change to, and then of course here, glass, courtesy of the Mirror Master. And so, supervillain for hire. What the hell are we doing here, McCulloch? Who paid you to ditch us into your looking glass? It does look like a wee bit bad on my part, don't it? But you're as much as fault as I am, Cold. And um, Wally says, "Why aren't you telling me?" "Nothing, I swear. I'm trapped in Wonderland just like you." And Mirror Master says, "The Eskimo's telling the truth. You probably don't remember a thing. You're both new to traveling into these fractionalized mirror dimensions. It can play a wee bit havoc on ye." Is he Scottish? He must be. I don't remember. I haven't read some of these in probably since this first came out. So, I have this entire run, but I think I just read it once or twice. But, all right, here we go. So Mirror Master continues. "First time I tried using one of Scudder's weapons, threw me a biscuit up and forgot where I was for days. A side effect you learn to shrug off. I call it self-reflection." And Wally says, "I call it madness." Changing back as he points at him. "They were trying to off us, Flash. Remember? Our old friend Barry was looking to tag you between the eyes," says Captain Cold. He says, "Changing back." And he says, "You know they aren't real, don't you? Nothing in this place is, Flash. Just smoke and mirrors. Hard light construction. An exact copy of the real world with a few alterations. A virtual prison or paradise, depending on your point of view. And that's what all matter and all light really is. Reality is just an objective point of view." So Flash is kind of annoyed. It says, "I love how all you rogues thrive on how smart you think you are. You're so deep into the genius of your own gadgets, so obsessed with your super sciences that you can't even pull off a simple jewel heist." You have to show the world your talents, how much better and smarter and tougher you are than the rest of us. Barry called it a superiority complex. I call it low self esteem, lack of confidence. And Cold points the gun at him and says, "You're one to talk, Wes. Trying to wear boots you can't possibly fill, still figuring out who you are because you sure as hell ain't Barry." So, and Wally says, "I've grown into these boots, Cold, many times over. I know exactly who I am." And then he smacks the gun away and says, "Don't point that thing at me." And Captain Cold puts it away and says, "Sorry, have it." So, um, guys, I never had the pleasure of meeting Barry, but so far, I don't see what the big fuss is about. And so, Flash, grabs his hand. "I'm going to ask you once, McCulloch, why are we here? In a place where lightning never struck, where no one ever became the Flash." And Mirror Master says, "Ask some, it's us. Okay, ask some, it's a dream come true. Others a nightmare. Guess which one it is for me. Look, pal, just send me home. Zap me with that mirror gun of yours. Whatever you need. I don't want to be mixed up in this. Cold, you were involved right from the beginning, and so now we're finally going to get the explanation of everything that's what's happening. It was ye who planned the breakout when we were being transferred to Stryker's Island, a penitentiary myself and ye and the Weather Wizard were off to, but we were in the middle of Metropolis. And as ye know, there's a wee hero community there. Weather Wizard was taken back into custody, lest couple of his teeth. The man of Steel and that kid were flying in to take care of us. This was the Superboy at that time. We would have been scalded by heat vision or treating a broken jaw if it weren't for that voice that sprung out of my mirror gun." And so, Mirror Master says, "Head for the light." So we did. And someone helped us poor lads out. Next thing you know, we were just outside Keystone City, home of the Flash, thanks to that voice. But where did it come from? Why did it help us? Hell if I knew. And then he appeared like a genie. He didn't give us a name. So there's the mysterious benefactor. But he did tell me that he wanted to destroy the Flash with the help of his greatest enemies, Captain Cold and the Mirror Master. No offense, kid, but that sounded good to us, so we heard him out. He told us of a plan he had to trap the Flash for good with the help of his technology and one of me mirror gadgets. In exchange for lending him a hand or two, Cold and I would reap the benefits of a defenseless Keystone City, a world without the Flash. It was easy to lure you into the open. Your marriage to Linda Park was all over the news. Of course, Colt took a fancy to her immediately. And out came Linda's knight in scarlet armor. And ye thought that was the end of it, Flash. You always thought the rogues went down easy. Well, don't threaten the man's wife. Ye thought wrong this time. Following the blueprints this voice gave me, I made some adjustments to the mirror gun. It was supposed to trap you in one of these splintered reflections, imprison ye for as long as we liked. But whatever I did to my gun, it dragged me and Cold in after ye. We'd been double-crossed. We were lost. Every reflection is different. The voice had told me inside this one. Flash would be cut off from the Speed Force, the energy that gives you your power. Seeing him try to dodge a car, at least one thing that voice told me was true. The Flash was slow. My first instinct was to back out, but one of the mirrors on my gun had cracked in the explosion. You can see here a cop tells him to drop it. Like, Cold, I don't much like cops. I didn't mean to turn him inside out. Not really, anyway. I did some checking, found out there was a Mirror Master here too. He's dead now, but some of his equipment is on display at this museum. I need that equipment to get us out, alright? To find this genie for some payback. And before we can't leave, or before we can't leave. That doesn't make sense. And what do you mean can't, and why? And why do you need us? When you arrive in one of these reflections, that reality cannot take it for long. Things start to warp and change. Eventually, it will fold upon us, collapse like a star, unless we get out. Our photons are so dense they act as magnets. Everything's drawn to them. As to why I need you, that's my business. Just be glad I do, alright? Now that we're straight, change them back. But he's not even... Before I break your arm, he says. And so... this cop says, my eyes, hard to see. Well, it couldn't have been. It just couldn't. And this other guy's like, where the hell did they run off to? I want to find him, Shire. He's a dead man. Now you're talking my language, lab rat. So. Did I? Nope. Alright. And so here's Plunder and says, they won't be much harder to peg than this gorilla was, Thinker. Why you wanted that beast anyway? That beast was an exquisite creature, a talking primate that was part of a hidden tribe in the heart of Africa, the most fascinating animal I had the pleasure of analyzing, until I discovered these strange readings on my temporal displacer and the disturbing fact about our universe. What a wonderful lie. So you sure you want these jokers alive? I don't want them alive, Plunder. I need them alive. If it were up to me, your sharpshooting skills would already have annihilated their frontal lobes. And so we can see here this person has a plan. But we need them alive, at least until we can pinpoint their molecular frequency. That is, unless you want to stay here. A shifting reality that will fade like a cinder. I've got a read on them. The hunt is on. So they know that they're inside a mirror world. So, and instead of a Flash museum, we have a Green Lantern museum for Hal Jordan. That's cool. Alright. I don't get it, Flasher. Why don't you just have me undo Barry so you could talk to him, being an idol and all? And Flash says, if you need to know, McCulloch, I made peace with him a long time ago. I was just confusing this one. I don't want to cause him any more trouble than we already have. During the greatest battle Earth has ever faced, Green Lantern sacrificed his life, destroying a weapon that was set to annihilate our world. Hal Jordan saved over 5 billion lives. A hero. That's what Hal Jordan was, all he wanted. And then he wonders how it all went wrong. And Captain Cold says, a hero? From what I heard through the supervillain grapevine, Hal Jordan lost a few of his Emerald Marvels, killed more people than the Joker. Heck, Barry was the one that died saving the planet during the battle. All the good it did us. Are you that thoughtless, Cold? Snaps Flash. Thoughtless about what? And then Captain Cold, or Mirror Master says, here's the one. That'll do me. And you can see a shot. And someone says, wrong. Whoops, wrong dummy. And it was Plunder. Don't even think of moving. Very cool pose there. And Flash says, friend of yours, not me. Captain Cold says, hell no. Did you find it, McCulloch? Got what we need. Let's get out of here. You're not going anywhere, Stooges, unless it's with me. And then Plunder goes down and shoots Captain Cold in the shoulder. Turn your gun on, McCulloch. It's not that simple, Flash, says Mirror Master. And he curses here. I can't find my bearings. Follow me, Cold. I'll have us through it. This is no... And Plunder says, right where I want you. I hear you're fast, Flash. At least where you come from. Where we're going. You cannot run a 22 without breaking a sweat. How about lasers? and so he shoots it at those mirrors behind him. I'll get rid of these wee laser lads. My gun can absorb as much as he can, and so he shoots at it, but suddenly um he gets like hit back, and he's like, "Oh no, he activated my gun." And they're like, "So?" And in comes more mirror, and McCulloch goes, "No good at all." So this concludes our issue, Flash 166 from November of 2000, written by Geoff Johns, pencils by Angel Unzueta, and inker is Doug Hazelwood. Hope you enjoyed. Like I said, I'm gonna go through all of Geoff Johns' Flash run. So, like and subscribe, and thanks for listening. Goodbye.